And that's how we got our first client who paid us 7 lakh rupees.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So from that money, we got an office on rent. From that money, we bought some tables.
Whenever we start a business, the most important is clients. We want business. And that is from where we go. So the first thing is clients. So my question is going to be very basic to begin with, that where do you get your clients from? Hello and welcome back to the channel, and I have a very special guest with me, Supriya Jain.
Hey everyone, great to be here, Manmeet.
Thank you so much, Supriya. She's a very successful content writer and also teaches people how to be a highly paid content writer. And today we'll be understanding her journey, how she has, become such. People pay in thousands and lakhs. Trust me, I know the details. So I want to spill all the secrets out of her to understand that how does she do it, and we'll be diving right in. First of all, thank you so much, Supriya, for doing
My
this.
pleasure.
And to begin with, I would want to understand, whenever we start a business, the most important is clients. We want business. And that is from where we go. So the first thing is clients. So my question is going to be very basic to begin with, that where do you get your clients from?
From my network. Very simple answer to a complicated question. But I'll dispute that a little bit, okay? The reason I started my business was not to find clients or not to do business, but what I wanted was freedom. Yeah. I did corporate gigs for 8 years before I started my business, and I realized I cannot have my time beholden to anyone who would tell me, come to office by 8 o'clock. You can't leave before 7. You have calls at 11. I couldn't do it. So my reason for starting a business was to own my time, right? I wasn't probably even thinking about clients when I quit my job, and I did it from like a beach in Goa. I was sitting there with my husband, and it was like a Sunday or a Saturday, and I had to go back to work on Monday. And I was like, I can't do this. So I texted my boss, who later became my business partner, that I'm coming on Monday and I'm putting in my papers. He's like, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. But I'm not doing this, whatever this is. So that's how my journey as an entrepreneur started. And this was 2015. And then when I came back, and I'm sorry, I'm going to stretch the story because...
Absolutely, we would love to know the details.
So when I got back, he asked me the same question, right? Like, why are you quitting? What do you want to do? And I said, maybe I'll do consulting, maybe I'll do writing. I don't know yet. And he said, but you can't quit. And I was like, why? So he says, because I quit today. And I was like, what are you going to do? So he says, maybe consulting. So we were having this, water cooler conversation. And we look at each other and we're like, let's do this together. So like, brilliant. So I'm content, he's brilliant at strategy, and like, who are we missing? And we said we're missing brand and design, like to do an end-to-end service, right? So I had this very good friend of mine who was almost heading brand at this IT company then. So we walk up to his desk and we're like, listen, we quit. And we're starting our own agency. Do you want to join? So he was working on his laptop and he looks up and he's like, okay. So that's how our first company began. And honestly, we had like zero idea where to find clients. So we were still in our notice period, right? And that time I had a restaurant very close by to my house. Me and my husband had opened it. So I would spend most of my time at the restaurant also. And we were like figuring out business ka naam kya hoga, what are our service stack going to be. Nobody's talking about clients.
Yeah.
Then this guy walks in to our restaurant to sell us a point of sale system. He was an IIT guy, and he had built this POS system, which was fantastic, by the way. And the one we were using was quite chunky and useless. So we said, yes, we will take your POS. And then we got talking. Ki, tum kya karte ho? Where are you from? Why are you doing this? And we figured he's got like a 2 million ka funding. And then he's in the business, like in the process of building his business. So I said, I'll buy your POS. You buy my marketing services. So he's like, okay. And that's how we got our first client who paid us 7 lakh rupees.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So from that money, we got an office on rent. From that money, we bought some tables, got a few chairs, and our setup was born, right? So the client was very incidental. But then once that happened, we also got confidence. Okay, this is doable. They love the stuff that we did for them. In fact, the first client presentation I made was from this place on my TV.
Oh.
So what I would say is, like, there are no constraints when you're trying to find clients. You can find clients anywhere. Anyone can be your client. You don't need to have like an infrastructure or website hona chahiye, ye hona. All those are good to have, but don't let that limit you from finding clients. Be open. Ki theek hai, let's talk to this person, see where it goes, and you will notice that clients come from all random different corners.
Absolutely. I would agree.
So yeah, that's how I find clients. I find connections, then I ask those connections what they're doing, then I see where I might be able to help them, and then I say, this is what I do, would you be willing to work with me? And 8 out of 10 times they say yes. So
absolutely, and I absolutely agree that there's always two ways to it, that when you're starting, you might not need one space. As you and I have multiple times mentioned that we've done zero cold emails, not really done the outreach and the digital marketing methods we need today. And I think those methods are for scaling up, not really when you're starting out, because I've got international clients from a WhatsApp story as well.
Yeah.
So you just need to be at it and you will get clients, is what I believe. And at the same time, you've always mentioned about having relationship with clients. And as you said that, out of 10, 8 people do move forward and they want to work with you. I think that happens is because you're reaching out to people who know you. In the digital marketing terms, I would say they are your warm outreach because they already know about you. And there is a level of trust there, that is why they convert so easily. So just wanted to understand your perspective on it, that when you reach out to people how does that relationship move forward from them being a client of yours?
So that's a good question, and that's again something that I cover in the 8-week cohort as well, and literally everywhere that I talk. So what you call warm outreach, I call my circle of influence. Yeah. So and I think there are studies and research that say all of us are connected by 6 degrees of separation, right? That's about it. So literally, if you know enough people, you will find enough connections to everyone in the world.
Absolutely.
So what I do is I don't directly sell ever. Like, I won't say I have this offering, buy from me, right? Like I said, couple of friends would know that Supriya is doing this, and I'll say, hey, do you know someone who's looking for these services? Can you connect me to them? And that's how that conversation starts, right? And my conversation is always about what is the problem that you're looking to solve. And often I have actually unsold my services, right?
Yeah.
I have told people very clearly, this is not what you need, right?
Yeah.
Why do you want to waste your time on it? Like, I ghostwrite books as well, and there was this guy who came to me who had written a perfectly good manuscript. I said, you don't need to, like,
Absolutely.
I can't do anything with it. Though I charge like 4 lakh, 5 lakh per book. But I said, there's nothing I can do for this book. This is brilliant in itself. So go ahead and publish it, right? So I'm open to saying no to business where I can't add value. And that's like a cornerstone of everything that I do. So people who I have relationship with know that thing about me, that if we give work to Supriya, one, she will only do or bill us for what is really necessary for us. She's never going to sell us stuff that doesn't add value. If she commits to something, it will always be delivered on time, at the best quality. Or if by chance something goes wrong, because life happens and things could go wrong, then she will let us know and figure out other things, right? Like I was just telling you, there's this client of mine, we just had a conversation before this one. And I had assigned a project manager to him, and he texted me. I've had a two-year-long relationship with this client, and he said, Supriya, this month, so we managed social media for him, and he said only one post was done. And I quickly called the team, who's like, I had been checking with them, and they said everything is running smoothly. And after a certain point in business, you want to delegate stuff to people, and you want to trust your own people, right? But apparently nothing was done. So the first thing I told this client was, I'm not going to charge you, right? So that entire 1 month retainer, I said, okay, let it be. If there was no work done, I will not charge you, right? So that is the reason people trust me. And it has happened once more, where I wrote an article for someone. Another subject expert had briefed me for the CEO because the CEO didn't have time. And I wrote the article according to the subject expert's brief, who approved it. But when I read to the CEO, he said, this is not my thought process. This is not what I want to say. And the marketing manager came back to me, and he's like, Supriya, the CEO said, idea, it didn't work out. So what do we do? I said, it's okay, I will not bill you. And that was $30,000 for that one article, which I spent time and effort on. But I said, it's okay. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you, let it be, right? And that is what keeps those clients with me. So I literally have a total of 5 to 7 clients, okay? And I keep upselling to them.
Yeah.
So when I called the same person yesterday for something, I pitched him 10 lakhs for a video, and he said, that's fine, let's do this, right?
Yeah.
From next month onwards, of course. But he didn't ask me for any samples. He didn't say, are you even able to do this? Do you have the capability? He's like, Supriya, I didn't know you do this also. Chalo, theek hai, I will send you videos, right?
Absolutely.
So that is where that relationship progresses. And that's how I've got most of my business, right? I've never been to Upwork or Fiverr or
those are hideous sites. I call them hideous sites. I
Yes.
tried them when I was starting, but I think those are people hiding behind the profiles, not having the guts and courage to come up front.
Yeah.
I don't know sorry, I hope YouTube doesn't ban me. But I don't like those sites.
Yeah.
And I think very rightly, as you mentioned, the power of saying no upfront and being so honest and transparent and being ready to work for free is what is bringing the trust of your clients in you when they don't look at the price point now.
Yeah.
That gives you the courage of saying, okay, I am the best here, and this is the value I bring to the table. And then there's no question of how much and kitna or kab. It's just, okay, you're saying it, I'll keep your word because I know that's who you are.
Yeah.
And I think that really helps in scaling your work as well. Absolutely. And I would, you've already answered a part of this question, but I would really want to understand that, when you said that you have like 4 or 5 clients, so do you ever think that I need new clients, or I want to bring in new people so that I can have more revenue? How does that work for you?
Okay, so this goes back to like the first question I answered, which is the freedom part. The reason I left corporate, and then the reason I left my second company, which was doing 4 crores in revenue by the time I left it, and we had 40 people, was because I don't want to do the grind.
Yeah.
And there is a big reason for, I had a very rude awakening in life when my husband passed away. So before that we were workaholics, right? Like 2 o'clock at night, 3 o'clock at night, even if I get up for a pee break, I'll check my emails first, right? अगर कुछ डिलीवर करना है टाइम पे तो बस करना ही है. But when he, the last time I saw him, I was sitting right here, and he was at that door, and he was going for, we had bought a land and he was developing it and everything, and he said, bye, I'll meet you in 2 days, but he didn't come back. And that still, it's been 8 years, but it still rankles, because I could have gotten up, I could have said I love you, I could have given him a hug. I didn't do any of that because I was working. And that was such a rude awakening for me, because I was like, and I say this often now, I will never put presentations before people anymore.
Yeah.
Right? So now I have my son, I have my dog, I have a mini zoo actually, there's a cat, there are fishes, there are birds. So I want to spend time with people, with my pets, and to do things that I really like to do.
Absolutely.
And maybe I'm digressing a bit, but so I decided freedom is what is important to me, and I'm only going to do as much as it takes to stick to that freedom, which is why I've decided that I don't want to scale a business, build a team of 200 people, because I've done
Right.
that,
Right.
you know, and I realized it didn't work for me. Yeah, when you open an office and you want people to come to office, you also have to go to office.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be
Yeah.
accountable for that team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am very clear that I want to run a small operation, maybe 3 or 4 people who do key things, and then rest is a freelance ecosystem. So this, the cohort members also, I will not hire them full time, but I'll keep passing on work to them,
Yeah.
because that gives me the flexibility to say, again, no, right? I have my plate full as much as I want, and I don't want to do this anymore. I would rather go, like today when we came back from the event, I came back early because my son had a dance practice, right? And he wants me to be there for him. So I came quickly, had a cup of chai, and took him to the practice, which is not possible when you are swamped with work.
Absolutely, I agree.
So my scale is going to be limited. There's 2 sides of it, okay? When I see the other agencies really quickly scaling up, hiring so many people, getting so much revenue, I'm like, I have the potential to do it. So for once it feels like those 8-year-old Supriya comes back and says, why don't you do it? And then I'm like, no, it doesn't align with my life goals.
Right.
And in my 8-week cohort also, the first 1 week is about goal setting. Like, you can do any business you want, but is it aligning with what you want to do in life? Because
Exactly.
you've got one life, like live it now, not when you're 60, not when you're 80, but now. So yeah.
Absolutely. I think you very rightly mentioned towards the end that, a lot of times we look on social media. When I was starting out, you would get up in the morning, look at people have reached this, that, they have these many followers, they've reached this revenue goal. In 6 months, the agency is doing so big. But at the end of the day, is it like, do you want what they wanted? So I think you've put it very nicely, saying that whatever you want for your work life, does it align with your social life or home life as well? And that's very important. The two should set together, and that is when you would do good. And I think that right now you're enjoying, if I may, the best of both worlds, where you have the kind of revenue that you want to make, and at the same time you have the kind of freedom that you have, envisioned for yourself.
Yes.
I would just want you to, give any last minute thoughts to anybody who's starting in the freelancing service business about, especially highlighting about building relationship with their clients, so that they're able to take their work and, their work life way forward. Any thoughts on that?
So I think one very important thing that I want to tell people is you should take ownership and accountability of your work, right? Unless, why is the client outsourcing to you? No matter what you're freelancing for, the client is giving out work to you because they don't have the time or bandwidth or the skill set to do it, right? They want you to make their life easier. So as a freelancer, as long as you're doing that, right, solving their problem and making their life easier, they will keep coming back to you, and you won't have to really go anywhere for new business. But if you make their life difficult, right, then they're not going to be coming back. They're not going to be giving you any referrals. So take ownership, take accountability, be proactive, try to solve their problems, and of course, deliver good stuff on time. That's literally the only thing clients want. They don't care about your prices. They don't care about, do you have offices, do you have websites, do you have LinkedIn presence. They want, are you doing my job the way I want it done? So as long as you're able to do that, you're going to be successful.
Thank you so much, Supriya. It has been a lovely conversation with you.
Thank you.
I have learned so much, especially about life. I have a new perspective now. And for everyone who's listening to us, I'm definitely going to drop Supriya's 30-day free email course on how to become a highly paid content writer. I have gone through it. My co-founder has gone through it. I definitely suggest you to go through it. It is a massive learning curve. Thank you so much, Supriya.
Thank you so much, Manmeet. That was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.